Hello again, Taylor County. I'm Alex Renneman with Unleashed Tiger, and I'm here with Sam Gerkin, running for County Commission. Sam, thanks for coming on the program.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Great. You know, we met during the primary, and we had a good conversation around a lot of the issues out there. Congratulations on your win to go into the general election. So you campaigned in the primary, and you've campaigned now for the general. What have you learned during that process? I mean, what are you hearing most from the constituents in Taylor County?
I mean, there's quite a bit of concerns, but there's a lot of forward thinking in the county right now as well. So I think the county is on a right path. I mean, there's a lot of new things happening. There's a lot of good things happening. So I've heard nothing but positive feedback from a lot of people. So I think we're on the right path. We just need to stay the course, get some good ideas out there, and keep moving forward.
Great. Have you changed your focus or position on something after hearing some folks talk about a certain issue or a certain need or anything going on in the county?
I mean, you hear a lot of opinions from people, and a lot of issues that people have are somewhat small, but they're big deals to them. So I think it's concentrating on solving the small issues that people have that can make a big impact.
Yeah, that makes sense. One of the things I always hear from folks in public service is, you know, the public's asking me about X, but my office and I can't affect it. We can only affect Y and Z. And so, is there anything like that you'd like to, you know, this is kind of turn the tables a little bit on the folks at home. Are there things people are asking you about that really the commission has nothing to do with it, and you'd like to communicate that so they're aware?
Well, that's the thing that I'm not 100% savvy with yet either. What I could control or could not control, but when you're in that position, then I mean, people may have an assumption that you can't control it, but if you can't, I think that you may have the avenues to be able to solve that through the right chain of command that it needs to go through. So
Gotcha.
Even though maybe something directly we can't affect, maybe indirectly we may be able to find the right channels of communication for them to solve their issue.
Yeah, so at Unleashed Tiger, we often say a republic is not a spectator sport. So engaging folks at home, what is the single most important thing that folks at home can do? If you're fortunate enough to win and become our county commission, one of our 3 county commissioners, what's the most important thing folks at home can do to help you succeed? I
mean, one huge thing they can do is if they have ideas, bring the ideas to us. I mean, this isn't just 3 guys making 100% of decisions for 100% of the people. We're a small community, we're a small county. People need to bring their ideas, bring their efforts. It's going to be a combined effort with everyone. If anything's going to happen, it's going to happen all together as a community, as a county. It's not just going to be 1 or 3 people doing everything. It's going to have to be a collaboration of the entire county coming together for that one goal to get accomplished. And I think we can do a lot and a lot more, but we're all going to have to be on the same page, be on the same team.
Yeah. And it's hard. Public service is hard. So my question to you and the other candidates is, why do this? Why take on this challenge? I mean, you got your family, get your job, why?
Well, there's definitely I get that question asked a lot.
I'm sure you do.
But just professionally, what I've done the last almost 15 years, I'm out there in the public. I'm talking to people every day. I deal with people with the county. I know the people with the county. So I think it's going to be a good transition and kind of go hand in hand with what I do on a daily basis. Hey, people can communicate their problems or their issues or their ideas to me a little bit easier because I'm easily accessible. I mean, I'm out there talking to you. You're coming to me anyway. Mm-hmm. So while you're coming to me, there's other subjects that come up other than what I do at work. And yeah, I mean, it's a great opportunity to say, hey, well, here's a guy in public office that we have an issue, and man, we know how to get a hold of him very easily. And I think it's going to be an easy transition and not much different than what I do on a daily basis.
Gotcha. Okay. So this question's maybe a little convoluted, so I'm going to throw it out there. We'll extrapolate it, do what we need to do. The question is really, I think, well, let me, a statement and a question. So we polled the county and got their feedback around questions, issues, fundamental things they wanted to hear from the candidates. And one of them is, I think, and the county commission in particular, and this is not a poke at any of the current county commissioners or the past, but boy, there was a real sentiment out there that this county suffers from a lack of leadership. And I guess, the question is, what is your leadership philosophy? Meaning, how do you stay ahead, informed? How do you stay proactive? What's your decision-making process? What goes into that in terms of something, an issue, whether it's important or not? How do you make those priorities? How do you measure the results to make sure you're being successful at them? All those things. What is your leadership philosophy?
I mean, my leadership philosophy has always been lead by example. I would never ask anybody to do something that I wouldn't be willing to do myself. And I think if you lead by example, if you set the bar high, show people that you are willing to work, that you are willing to go out there and do everything you say you're going to do, then I think you'll have a positive response from that. I think success is contagious and failure is contagious as well. I always revert back to baseball, hits are contagious and outs are contagious. So have a positive attitude going into things, keep an open mind, and be willing to do what you say you're going to do, and go out there and do it yourself if no one else will.
So if you win, and we sit down next cycle, and we have a conversation, what is it you'd like to say? This is what we were able to accomplish during my first term as county commissioner.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, there's a lot that can be accomplished. There's a lot of good things happening within the county right now, and I think what needs to happen is the community as a whole, the leadership especially, needs to continue support with the current things that are happening now, with the fair expanding their territory out there with an athletic complex, and what's happening with the Manus Theater and in town. Even work with the city, work with the county. After 6 years, hopefully people look back and they'll say, you know what, we got things starting to turn around, but we turn the corner and made a run to the right area. So,
okay. If again, as we look, what do you see as the biggest challenge for either you or your challenger, and the rest of the council or the rest of the commission going forward? What do you see as that biggest challenge?
I mean, there's a lot of challenges, obviously, but the biggest challenge that we have, I think, right now is just a lack of communication between the people. I think if we all get on the same page, there's a lot of events going on, a lot of stuff happening, but we can't divide our forces. We're such a small community, such a small county, that when these things happen, we all need to come together at each event and participate and support each other and support the activities that are happening and support the events that are happening as a community, instead of sometimes there may be a little bit of lack of communication in some areas, and you'll have two events happening at the same time, and kind of the same people that were going to go to both have to get split to participate in one or the other, where I think we have enough time and where we can have a good communication between everyone and do the right things.
Yeah. So you and your opponent are both, there's no incumbent, right? So you're both running, you'll both be a new install on the commission. Right. Looking at the current commission, what have you seen in terms of their successes and failures?
I mean, successes, for sure, they always seem like they are willing to support local groups, local organizations, local stuff. But like I said, I'm not in that position yet, so I don't know what the ins and outs would be on what they can and cannot do, or what ties their hands, and what they can control and what they can't. So I really don't. I can't throw out and say, hey, this is what they're doing wrong. This is a bad thing. I really can't say that because I haven't been in that position yet, so I really don't know. until until I'm there and really experience to see what the limitations would be, to what the constraints are on that particular job. So
yeah, makes sense. So on election day, or if we go to early voting, those kind of things, why, as I'm looking at county commission, I look at you and your opponent, why do I choose Sam Gerkin?
Why not, man? Let's just do it. I mean, like I've said before, Taylor County is very special to me. I've lived here my whole life. I've worked here for the last 14 years after college, and I don't plan on going anywhere. I'm going to be right here unless I kick over tomorrow, which I'll still be here. I'll just be on the ground. But yeah, I'm not going anywhere. This is my home. I'm raising a family here. This is where I'm going to be. And somebody has got to step up to lead things in the future. And thought I'd throw my hat in the ring and let's give this thing a shot. And I'll do everything I can and do the best I can for everybody.
Great, thanks. Sam Gerkin for County Commission. This is the end of part one. Be on the lookout for part two. Thank you.